Hello and welcome to another episode of Ivy Backed. I am Austin Harrison from Ivy Games. If you haven't watched the show before, it is a show where we take a look at active crowdfunding campaigns from a publisher's perspective. So, of course, I'm looking at games I'm excited about. This is not a game about trashing, or a show about trashing other companies. Maybe we should make a game about trashing other companies. That sounds fun. No, it is a game where we talk about games. It is a show where we talk about games that we are excited about and things that we really like on active campaigns. So I started the show because I was doing this anyway. I was constantly looking at crowdfunding campaigns and trying to learn and see what other people were doing. And I was like, well, I end up talking to people about the pages anyway. Why not just talk to them on a live stream? And so that's what we're doing. You know, we're hanging out, we're talking to members of our Discord, we're talking to members of the community, we're sometimes even talking to the creators of the games themselves. We've had people that were covering their page and they're like, hey, this is my game. And that always makes me super nervous. But it's also really fun to be able to just have that conversation with people. So I really like doing the show and hope to continue it for a long time. Mostly because it's my research time, so I get to do two birds with one stone, as they say. But yeah, today we are looking at 3 games. We're looking at Thunder Road, Vendetta, Paint the Roses, and Taverns and Dragons, and maybe a quick look at that rock paper scissors parody game. That is just a hilarious page to look at. Is everything great about crowdfunding? So yeah, excited to dive in. It's a little bit fly by the seat of our pants today. I have had a really busy day working on the Game Found pledge manager for Mythic Mischief, just trying to figure out how to export order numbers and all kinds of stuff. It's a brand new pledge manager to me. We've used CrowdOx before this, so just a lot of learning to be done. Creating a board game is very hard, and that's just the creating the part. Then making the board game is even harder. So it's a fun journey to be on. But yeah, all the people that we're looking at today, they've already been on this journey, which is fun too. Sometimes we look at first-time creators, and I love doing that, but sometimes you're just like, oh man, you got a lot of work ahead of you. But these people, these are experienced. These are veterans. They know everything about delivering games. They've all delivered games before. So that's a fun week to be looking at that. So first off, hey Kevin, good to see you. Kevin with an I, Kevin with an E, good to see you both. But yeah, so today, starting off looking at Thunder Road Vendetta. This is a game that I know there are past versions of. I have not played those past versions. So if you're expecting me to have a lot of insight into the game, I apologize. I am not an expert on all things Thunder Road. I do know that it is very much like Mad Max. You're in cars, you're in a desert, you're racing. There's a lot of fighting and attacking, and it looks really fun. I love the theme. I just haven't played the game. First thing I want to talk about on this one, though, is they have a very, very large pledge level. It is, or a funding goal is $500,000. The only one recently I've seen higher than that was Iridia, and I think that was like 750 or 800,000. And so that's not common. Usually you see people, and I like this trend, by the way. This is not me being upset about this. A lot of people will be like, our goal is $10,000, and they have like a game full of minis, and you're like, you can even buy the molds in this game for $10,000. And so when I see that, I'm like, that's scary. They just wanted to say, funded 12 million X, our original funding goal, which, is just something that creators do to generate hype. Hype is important in board games, as unfun as it is to say. But $500,000 is a realistic goal, especially if they have licensing fees. I don't know a lot about the relationship. If you want to look at Restoration Games real quick, they have done some pretty big games. I cannot remember if Restoration is the one that licenses older games and makes them new, but that kind of makes sense for Fireball and Dark Tower, or if they actually just own all these games. They might. Forgive me. Someone from the comments, please let me know if you know. But Return of the Dark Tower and Fireball Island, obviously two big games, two big names, both with over 20,000 backers, which is a silly number, an awesome number. I super hope that continues with Thunder Road. I am curious. Let's go ahead and look at Return of the Dark Tower. How many? They did 4 million on that. I saw a prototype at Origins or Gen Con. I can't remember which one it was, and it looked awesome. So really, really excited for that to hit people's tables. But man, $4 million is a good number. So hopefully they can get close to that again. But yeah, let's look at the page, shall we? So Thunder Road Vendetta. 500,000, 20 days to go at 14-ish hundred backers right now. Showed you some of the other games already. Right away, they're definitely leaning into this nostalgia of the past games, right? Like this is not a new thing where they have to explain it all to you. And honestly, you could look at this board and that box cover and know exactly, like there's no explanation needed on the theme. There's no, like, they have ready aim drive and it's like, yep, cool, I've got a good idea of what gameplay is going to be like. Sometimes you look at games like Mythwind and you're like, I have no idea what gameplay is going to be like. I know exactly what gameplay is going to be like in this game. I don't think that's a negative. I think that could be a positive, especially if you like this kind of game. You see there's dice, you see there's some card things, you see some vehicles and a track, and you know you are shooting people. So 2 to 4 players, ages 7+. 7+ is the lowest I've seen in a long time. Yeah, just not many Kickstarter games go below 13, 12. It's just you have to do a lot of extra testing. You can't have small parts. Well, you can. It's just dangerous to have small parts. Things like that. Plays 5 players with an expansion. That's good to know. But yeah. Cars, Kills, and Chrome. In 1986, Thunder Road hit the table, unleashing a cavalcade of carnage, unlike anything the game world has seen since. We're thrilled to be bringing back Jim, I think that's Kiefer's classic, in all its dusty, blood-splattered glory. Now with the thorough tune-up from designers David Chalker and Brett Myers, and a fresh coat of paint from artist Marie Bergeron. Start your engines if you dare. Okay, so this paragraph is leading me to think that it is... Aaron said, is this Tokaido-esque, which is maybe the most peaceful game I've ever played. That was funny, Aaron. Good job. Start your engines if you dare. So that leads me to believe that, yes, this is the people that they license older games and they make them new and give them a little bit of a tune-up and a new fresh coat of paint, as they have said here. And I think that is who this company is. But yeah, Thunder Road Vendetta. It's a game of fast turns, high interaction, and dicey decisions. Your crew will drive through perilous roads, dodge hazards, slam into their cars, and fire those guns. Or, when all else fails, call in the chopper. That's exciting. I didn't see a helicopter before. Actually, I think those standee things that are really small might be those right there. I think this is a great start to a page, right? Like, it doesn't even need all of this text because I instantly know what the game is going to be like, but I don't hate it here. And then right away we have some gameplay specs, which is fun. They called it GPS, which is funny. Command your crew. This is one of the highest gameplay sections I've ever seen, actually. It's obviously not a huge... Well, it actually is a pretty big section. I take that back. Wow. This is a very, very high gameplay section, which is great. I mean, I like that. It doesn't always convert as well, but rip-roaring, rough-roaring through feudal Japan. Markdale. Is that Tokaido? Is that what we're talking about right now? That's pretty funny. Yeah, it's exactly what it is, for sure. All right. Some nice gameplay gifts. Navigating terrain, setting your sights. Got some attack dice, damage stuff. So this is, I saw this earlier, so forgive me. This is not, usually I research each campaign for a sizable amount of time before we do the show. These were very quick pass-throughs. I found it interesting that this car goes on top of this blue car during this section. It seems like a little bit of an odd choice. I feel like they should bump each other. I've never been able to navigate my car on top of another person's car, so I definitely would be looking for what that is in the rulebook. Excuse me. Just because I found that to be a little odd. There it is. Okay, cool. I shouldn't have said anything. They have dice that control whether you're on the front or the bottom or what happens there. When your car slams into another car, roll the slam die and the direction die to see who gets bumped into another space. If one of the cars is larger, that player can choose to reroll once. This can set off a chain reaction of slams. I'm so glad they have this section because this section does not make sense without this section. So that's a nice little mechanic. It'd be fun to like cause a 10-car pileup, see what happens. There's the helicopter we were talking about. Create new roads. Use the switch and link system when you drive off the edge of the board to drop the backboard, slide the boards down, and place a new one. Any cars on the backboard just got dumped. Wow, that's fun. So it's like one of those treadmills, never ending. Did you guys, anyone back that Dungeons and Dragons scroll thing that they had? It was like an endless dungeon. Man, I got a tickle in my throat. I cannot kick. All right. But I really like this mechanic. I really wanted to buy that dungeon, but like having two massive scrolls on the table just wasn't doing it for me. And also, like, to know what's coming as the DM, you have to like unroll it and then re-roll it. Didn't quite do it for me in that way, but I thought the concept was really cool. It was like a similar thing. I'm gonna have to show that to Zach and Max. I think that's really cool. A really cool mechanic for this. Anyway, moving on. Rulebook, watch it played. If you have a Rodney Smith episode, you should always plug it. That's a genius thing to do. Let's go ahead and see. Okay, so that took us to not the wrong right place. That took us to the rulebook Dropbox. I believe they have a linking issue here. So either that watch it played is not done or the link is wrong. So let's go ahead and see if watch it played has the video yet. How long have I not had sound? Oh no. How? All right, my sound should be back. Y'all, I have no idea. 2 minutes. Wow. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Y'all are true friends. Let's watch Austin just talk at a camera with no sound for 5 minutes. I said lots of really nice things in those 2 minutes. Most of it was the fact that I'm pretty surprised that this price level is $50, considering there are 20 minis in it, and I think that's a pretty price to sell game. So sorry about that, guys. Thanks for telling me, guys and gals. Y'all. I want to say y'all. Y'all is how I'm going to talk from now on. I'm going to embrace my Nashville, Tennessee roots and just say y'all all the time. All right. So then they have a much, literally triple the price of that version. And it comes with the 5th player, maybe even a 6th player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is this? That's just got to be a different mechanic. Anyway, a much bigger, more intense box. I'm really curious, like, what are you getting for that extra $100 almost dollars? It looks like there's more road pieces, a 5th player. But overall, I'm seeing a lot of the same stuff between those things with some extra cards and things. So then you got this giant box with some nice foiling. You know that at IV we're sucker for foil. We love foil on game boxes. Didn't do it on Mythic Mischief just because it didn't seem to fit the world quite as well. But for Moonrakers and Build Fate, we loved seeing that. Collector's Box replaces the base game and expansion boxes for one easy storage solution. Kevin, my voice is going. I do not know what's happening. I'm not sick. So pretty interesting. I think I just never got my voice back after Origins and Gen Con, maybe. Who knows? The rules may say the point of the game is to win the race or eliminate your opponents, but the sheer joy of ramming into other cars and the potential chaos that results will keep you coming back to this game again and again. Mike Dunn. That's a fun quote. I like that. Extra ammo. So this is one of the expansions that comes in that big box. Tantrum House quote. I like Tantrum House a lot, so I always try to read those as well. What part of your brain is it that re-registers the excitement you felt as a kid playing a super fun game, multiplied by the fact that it now all looks super gorgeous? Because that part right there is that's firing. Wait, because that's the part that's firing right now. Oh, the part of his brain. Got it. It's all the things that I remember, plus lots of new little sophistications and refinements. Cool. This is a nice little section. You don't see this very much. So game creators, game publishers make more money on add-ons in the pledge manager. The ratio or just the percentage that Kickstarter takes versus usually your pledge manager takes is just better. So you can either add them on Kickstarter now, or you can do it in backer kit later. And they took some time to explain that, which is interesting. Big Rig, Final 5. Go big or go small. Either way, stay sharp. Adds a 5th player via 2 new crews. 2 new crews, but only 5 players instead of 6. The Big Rig is a relentless beast bristling with weapons and fences. The Final 5 are a nimble group of motorcycles that can zip through traffic without stopping. These can be placed together or separately in any combination with crews from the base game, allowing for a 5th player. That's cool. Oh man, look at that. It's like it's a train almost. This green semi pulling like 2 more car sections. It's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to skip through a lot of this. I just want to talk about some of the other things on the page. Chop Shop, this artwork I love. It's wonderful. I'm curious how it fits in with some of the more base game artwork. I think it fits in pretty well. I'm a little torn. I love the base box so much, and this is cool, but just isn't quite as detailed. So yeah, I do like this art on this expansion a whole lot. I think it's a really cool look. Better lead than get run over. So this is talking about all these expansions. Oh, here's those add-ons we were talking more. Maybe the reason they want you to add on add-ons in the pledge manager instead of the base game or on the pledge. Water is allowed. Yeah, I drank all my water almost. So they've got custom dice, storage bags, sleeves, art prints, an 8x10 art print featuring amazing cover art from all. I mean, they have great cover art. I get it. Back Now. Y'all, this is the why Back Now is everywhere on a page. I see it in the top. I see it in the middle. I see it in the bottom. I see it in the very last thing, the very first thing. It's all over the place. That no one has a consensus on where this should be. You can get what you want. You'll get the game early. You'll be getting a good deal, and you'll get to be a backer. It's a nice section. I like this. It's very well laid out, very clear. 4 main reasons. But that's nice. New to KS. What happens if I click on that? Wow. This is a wonderful little page. Good job, Restoration Games. Saves them. Doing the design work and doing something like this. It's all right. Alex, you didn't miss anything. Alex said, darn it, late again. My sound dropped out and I had like a coughing fit. So you're caught up. I dropped audio for 2 minutes. I don't know why. But this is a really nice touch that Restoration has done. It's just like a nice little new to KS button. Takes you right to here. And they've invested time here, but this is going to save them on customer service because we get lots of emails that are just like, hey, I pledged, but no money came out of my bank account. Should I be worried? And it's like, no, you don't need to be worried. This is already planned. Like you'll get the money out. The money will come out at the end of the campaign if it's successful, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I feel like this joke's going to be around for a while. I don't own IV Games. I'm the head of games at IV Games. And Zach and Sam are my bosses. We did something like this And that was like 2 months before the campaign. And then we went to GameFound instead of Kickstarter, so we never used it. If you wanted a little sneak peek at what happens behind the scenes. Retailers, shipping. Looks like they kept the same price in the United States for the 2 pledge levels. I think that's kind of common. US people hate paying shipping. Actually, everyone hates paying shipping, but yeah. That included on EU and UK. This is a nice graphic, kind of shows that. Price goes up $5, but I mean, let's do the calculation, shall we? So let's say they do the big pledge. Scroll up here, $145, and then they added on some other stuff. So I think the chop shop's already in there. So let's say they added on some dice or whatever. So they came up to like $160, and then they've got $35 shipping. So that's gonna be 160, 195, basically call it $200 plus that. What is that? That is going to be 20% if they're in the UK, right? So that's going to be $40 extra on top of that pledge. So if it's $200, they're now paying $240. So Restoration Games is eating $35 on that size order because the shipping is only going up from $30 to $35. Now, another way you could hide that is you just start the UK shipping higher. The United States and the European Union are not $10 apart, usually, on shipping. So you could hide a little bit more of that cost in this. And so let's say that it actually does cost you $20 to ship to there. And so you've got $10. So you're only eating $20-ish of that. It's one of those really, really tricky situations where you have to do a lot of smoke and mirrors, or you just make them pay it. And I will tell you, people don't like paying that. We get people all the time that they say, hey, I didn't realize that wasn't included. I'm canceling my pledge. That happens both with Veiled Fate and with Mythic Mischief. As soon as the pledge ended and people went into into the pledge manager and were like, oh, why am I being charged 20%? I'm like, are you in the UK? Yeah, it's that. Oh, I didn't realize that wasn't included. I'm canceling my pledge. And so there's good reasons to include that from a selling standpoint, but it is a interesting conundrum for publishers, and it will continue to be an interesting conundrum for publishers. So yeah, that not included. Don't love that these are in the same thing here, because it's like this is talking about what's in Asia 1 and what's in Asia 2, but the rest of these are like that included versus, I don't know. I wish there was like a fourth column that talked about what was in each one, but it's fine. It's not bad. QML and Backer Kit, great partners to have. Always plug your partners. We didn't do it for GameFound because GameFound's on GameFound, so you know that GameFound is the partner for the pledge manager. But yeah, I highly recommend doing this. I really like seeing this because I'm like, oh, my game's going to come really well protected because it's Quartermaster, and oh, it's Backer Kit. I've used Backer Kit before. So anyway, good. Oh man, have I dropped again? Weird things happening on my end here. Mark Dale says, create one for GameFound next time. Yeah, Mark, as soon as we figure out GameFound, we'll create a way to get your pins document, which is apparently what we needed this time. Yeah, cool. Then we got the team. I like this. The ending with the art prints here. This is very nice. I think overall, just a really, really well-designed page. Yeah, the gameplay section was one of the earliest I've seen. It is actually a relatively short page. You're not seeing tons of stretch goals. You're not seeing, and that is interesting. I actually want to go to the comment section and being like, see if people are like, where are the stretch goals? Nothing about it so far. Maybe that's our problem. We talk about how there are no stretch goals on our pages. Maybe we just don't need to mention it. Cool. All right, 500,000. It's a lot to get to. They're already at 200,000 almost, though. So it's cruising. I think they have a very, very good chance of making it. Good. All right, that was Thunder Road. Paint the Roses. Whoops. All right, so if you remember games like Oceans or one of my personal favorites, Wits and Wagers, then you will know this publisher, North Star Games. Paint the Roses is a newer one. I've seen quite a few, not quite a few. I've seen a good number of like, games set in this Queen of Hearts like garden type thing, or like Wonderland's War, which we love James Hudson and his company. So I'm really excited to get that one. But I've seen a few in this kind of world of Wonderland. But this is a cooperative, like puzzly game, which we just made Mythic Mischief, not cooperative, but does have a good bit of puzzliness in it. So I'm excited to learn more about it. And this is a page that I didn't get a chance to look very much at. I apologize for that, but excited to look at it together. Bethesda, Maryland is very close to where I grew up. So also pumped that there are people making board games there because I didn't know that. But yeah, welcome to Wonderland. Journeying down the rabbit hole through the Cheshire forest and behind the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. It's time to paint the roses. If you haven't watched this movie recently or read the story, then I would go back and learn why they're painting the roses. But basically, the Queen of Hearts wants things to be her way. So I think she's trying to paint the white roses red, or maybe the different teams are painting them different colors in this game. But yeah. Work together with your fellow gardeners and use your deduction skills to decipher the Queen's whims in this exciting and clever cooperative game. Don't be late for this very important date. That's the fun thing about working in established IP. There's lots of references that you can make, which is really nice. Art style's fun. Cool. All right, so they're up to 83,000, almost 4x, or actually over 4x their original goal. 1,500 backers the first day. That's great. They're cruising. And I like this little North Star Game Studio thing here. At North Star, our goal is to craft the highest quality games. After finishing the core design of Paint the Roses in 2018, we've taken our time fine-tuning every aspect to create something special. Back this campaign to support us creating great games that last. Wow, they've been working on this game for as long as we've had Moonrakers, basically. So that is a long production run. Yeah, that's super long. But I mean, I'm sure they were working on other things in the meantime too, but that is cool that they took their time on this and really invested in it. And I'm excited to highest quality games. I think they're talking about gameplay more than components. I'm sure they feel the same way about components, but it definitely seems like that section is about gameplay. This is a game I will pass to future generations. Ooh, that's a big one. How many games in my collection will I pass on to my son? That is definitely Star Wars Rebellion. I mean, we'll play that a lot when he gets older, I hope. But yeah, it's fun to think about games like that. Games are pretty finite, right? We sleeve our cards because we're worried about getting damaged. But like, man, yeah, a game that is 20 years old, like you go to your parents' house and you pull out like Monopoly, which God forbid I know, but that thing's pretty rough at this point. And I wonder how many games in my collection will look like that by the time I'm handing off games to my son. But anyway, huge rabbit hole. Truly cooperative experience. Okay, so there's no competition, I'm guessing by that. And I love keywords like this just because it's like, all right, as soon as I read that, I don't think there's hidden objectives or anything that's separate. Like we're all working together for the same goal. It's not going to be like a Dead of Winter scenario. Every turn, a new puzzle to solve. The retail edition shown. It's a nice little note to have. Game difficulty auto adapts to the players. How? Each turn, you add a shrub tile to the board, filling in the garden and revealing new information about the Queen's secret instructions. Together, you must guess her secret cards, and it will take logic, deduction, and lively discussion to figure these out. Yeah, so with this one, I want to know why. So the Queen is impatient, easy to anger, always chasing your team down on the score track. The higher you score, the angrier and faster she gets, adjusting difficulty with no additional setup. If she catches you before you finish the Royal Gardens, the last words you hear will be off with their heads. Okay, so that is nice that they explain that a little bit as far as like the adapting. So the Queen will chase you faster, the better you're doing. Okay. This is easily my favorite deduction game since Hanabi. It's been a hit with everyone I've introduced it to. Who's played The Search for Planet X? I'm wondering. I've heard wonderful things. I have it right over there. I haven't played it yet, and I don't necessarily think this is exactly the same, obviously, but just got a vibe of that for some reason. But anyway, retail game is only $30. It's pretty low. Retail and expansion content's $55, and deluxe content's at $60. So that's a really nice little pricing structure they have. Obviously, retail is definitely priced to be in more of like a mass market. But it's always good to see for Kickstarter those upgraded components and expansion content that can get you up into a price point of $55 or $60, just because the initial print runs are so expensive. And that's what this is really good. Kickstarter is really good for is paying for that initial print run to kind of get your engine started as far as delivering to the Targets and the game and the local friendly game stores and the Barnes and Nobles of the world. You want to get this kind of like machine rolling of print copies, but you also want to have something that appeals to the market of Kickstarter, which is a more dedicated early adopter deluxe components type market. And so I like seeing these. This is really priced similar to Moonrakers. Actually, the Moonrakers base game was $55 and $65 for the next level up. So this is a pricing point I'm pretty familiar with. But yeah, pretty cool. Man, the brothers Murph were really busy this week. I have not really seen too many quotes by them in the last few really the last few months, but I've seen 3. Is there a brothers Murph on? I could have sworn there was. Anyway, we'll come back to that. We'll get to that one last. Components. I'm going to skip through these and get to the last one, the deluxe edition. So we got minis and a deluxe game tray. Oh, it's a game trays tray. Usually for game trays with the Z, I would expect to see the game trays logo. You usually want to include that just so people don't confuse that it's not actually a different game tray. But whenever you have the YZ, I'm always expecting to actually be game trays. So I hope that is the case. But yeah, pretty cool. Jabberwocky is a scary little dude. So it's a lot more content in that than it is in this, for sure. But still cool. Cool. Gotta have the tray. We'll have to back it at the $60 level to get the tray. Is it in this one? Tis not. Cool. Well, of course we have Monique and Naveen. Always love seeing their faces. They do a wonderful job on doing game overviews. But yeah. Mark, yeah, totally. Mass production versus quality now. Yep. Totally agree. We were talking about handing games down. Definitely not too many of the mass-produced ones. I have Terraforming Mars, like the mass production copy of Terraforming Mars, and then I have the Kickstarter like deluxe Terraforming Mars here as well. So it's like, well, I should probably get rid of that first one. But pretty, it's annoying to get rid of games. I should donate it. Is what I should do. Dane says, I like the way the last Nemesis campaign handled it. We're talking about stretch goals in the comments section. Basically, they did daily unlocks where everything's unlocked from the beginning, but they reveal it as they go. The counterpoint to that, though, Dane, is Bloodstone did that, and people at the very beginning of the campaign were just like, well, there's not quite enough here to get me excited, even though Bloodstone had so much more content that was going to be coming out over the next few days. And so it is one of those trade-offs to where Bloodstone looked incredible, and I'm really excited for that to relaunch because I want that game pretty badly. And 100%, I would have thought that the way they did it was perfect, and it for some reason just didn't jive with people. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know how to do those releases. All right, so here's a gameplay section. Some nice little gifts here. You're placing a tile, placing clue tokens. Ooh, guess a whim card. I don't know what a whim card is. Oh, got an incorrect guess. And then you get points. This might be my board game of the year from the Board Game Feels. That's a great quote. Put that everywhere. Put that higher up. Rulebooks, playing online, Tabletop Simulator, and Tabletopia. Whoa, that's awesome. Tabletop Simulator for me, please. Hey, Alex. I don't know if you're still here, but you're on this page. Gorgeous art, a great theme, and solid gameplay makes this a deduction game that can't help but impress. That's great. Good to know. Did you do a video for this, Alex? I must have missed it. I met Gnarly Carly at Origins, and it was very nice to meet her. As a lover of logic puzzles, this was right up my alley. We really enjoyed this charming brainbuster. Help us design a module, Kickstarter exclusive. Throughout this campaign, we'll be creating a brand new module for the Escape the Castle expansion with the help of our backers. Follow our Kickstarter updates and join the discussions to collaborate with North Star Studio design team. Final decisions will be made through community polls. This module will feature a new character from Wonderland and art by the original artist, terrible at French names, Jacques Davis. All physical game pledges will receive a new community created module for free. It will be available after the campaign while supplies last for $12.99. I love this. This is wonderful. So not only are they working with the community to do it, but they are going to have a brand new product that they can sell afterwards for $13, but that's a whole added value for every physical game pledges. So that's everyone that backs at any level. Excuse me. But yeah, why no stretch goals? Y'all, how many campaigns were there before Moonrakers that didn't have stretch goals? Did we start this? I don't think we did. I like to pretend we did. Best possible game, best possible price, reduction of FOMO, and stretch goals, increased development time. Amen. Stretch goals, increased development time is probably the worst one, right? That is something that we learned not with Moonrakers, because we didn't have anything additional after that, but we added add-ons, and it was simple things like mats and stuff, but we had to get samples and we had to do all this different stuff before we could finally pull the trigger to go into production. And it just added time that we didn't think would be there. And I can only imagine what adding a new faction or adding a new, a mini, which you have to get sculpted and tested and sampled and all that stuff. It just adds so much time. It's why Kickstarters take forever to deliver. At least it was before all of the problems that we have with shipping and logistics and production right now. But like Veiled Fate was ready to go into production when the game ended, and we added languages, and it was like, all right, well, that languages take a little bit of time. And now we're here, even without the added production time of being very, very late on Veiled Fate because of all the production issues. But I can only imagine how much later we would be right now had we added content to that in the middle. For Mythic Mischief, people wanted us to add the 3 factions that we voted on at the end before we went to production with the finished game. We're like, the rest of the game's finished. All the files are at the factory. We're just not going to do that because it would take 6 months to play test or to create it, then play test it, then do the art, then balance it, and then get it all working with all the other factions of the game. That's something we're going to be doing over the next year, not something we're going to do before we print this game. So yeah, 100% agree with this. I love that they added this as a bullet point here. But yeah, knowing the components in advance allows us to lower the manufacturing costs, which means a lower price for you. Reduction of FOMO, it's a great thing as well. It's also a scary thing. If your game doesn't have FOMO, why back it? Why not just wait for it to come out at retail, right? So that's a scary thing for creators that aren't doing stretch goals. You have to incentivize them in other ways. But yeah, best possible game. I like that. I like this a lot. Why back now? Cheaper price, early delivery, deluxe edition, free promo module, support a small publisher. So this is great, especially piggybacking it right here on like why we're not doing stretch goals. But like these are the positives, right? I might even switch the location of those. I might do the why back now first, followed by the why no stretch goals, because people are really looking for stretch goals. They may be like, done, exit, and not ever get to here. But I am really glad they're close together at the very least. We're about to find out if Alex does have one. Ta-da! Deduce or die. Deduce or the queen will cut your head off. Wonderful. Deduce or die. That's a great title, Alex. Congratulations. Cool. Dark Fox says, ¿Por qué no los dos? Which would be, why not both Tabletopia and TTS? Maybe we should make Tabletopia things. I just don't want to make it or test it on there. So maybe the community can help us out with that. Yeah. Dane says, I guess in the infancy of board games and Kickstarter, stretch goals were needed to pull the backers in, but things have matured enough now. Yeah, that's very true. It very well might have. Dave, FOMO is just one more anxiety I don't need in my life. I'm happy to see it reduced. Yeah, I mean, there's FOMO on every campaign. There's FOMO on our campaigns. It's just, there's going to be some exclusive things. We try to make them non-gameplay now, like the Ghosts expansion, for instance. It was originally planned to be completely exclusive, like never get it again after the campaign, and we changed that to be an IV exclusive, and instead did the Glowing Ghosts be a campaign exclusive. So if you have anxiety over Glowing Ghosts, I apologize, but it is something that is not related to gameplay. It's just a fun thing. So I like that trend toward cosmetic exclusives versus gameplay exclusive, which was something we didn't do on. Obviously, Moonrakers has some cards that you won't be able to get again. So really, really lovely page. A lot of white text, but I think they intersperse it really well with these design sections and lots of photography. I think overall, really nice looking page. Yeah, shipping section. Lots of different prices for the 3 levels. I'd almost just prefer to have it be the middle column no matter what, but Oh man, the shipping cost between retail plus and deluxe for Hawaii is $20. That's such a big jump there. But yeah, EU and UK have new strict import and tax laws as of 2021. That and other regional taxes will be added via the pledge manager as required. Yep. Oh, a fun little timeline here. January pledge manager closes. Okay, so they got about 3 months on that, depending on when in January. I'm seeing big white spaces. That means that I need to refresh, but we're at the end of the page anyway, so I think we're just going to move on. Overall, looks really, really nice. Alex, if you're still here, I'd love to hear what you thought about the puzzle. But it does seem like a mechanic inside of a game that reacts to the skill level of the players is very fun. And I wonder if it's interesting if you ever reach a point where you're like, okay, we actually don't want to get that point right now because that's going to make the queen move even faster, and we need to kind of like slow our roll here. And I wonder if it adds in that kind of like strategy level there. Yeah, really interesting looking game. Definitely doesn't look like any other game that I've played recently as far as like what you were doing, and the board looks pretty unique as well. So I like it. I think it looks really cool. All right. That was North Star Paint the Roses. April 2022. That is fast. Was that the delivery time? Thank you for catching that, Dave. Wow. Shoot. Did they already print it? There's no way they already printed it. They would have had that on the page. If they hit that, I will be their biggest fan, and I will talk about that on the show because it is not impossible. We could have said May or April or June for Mythic Mischief. But you missed that by a week. You miss a deadline on this side of 2022 in 2021 by a week, and you hit Chinese New Year. When you hit Chinese New Year, production just stops, and they don't want anything to kind of be like in the middle, and like that means you get pushed to like starting in March instead of in December, and that's a very realistic possibility in this production climate because there's factory shutdowns and there's shortages of material and there's COVID restrictions where they can only work a certain amount of people in the factory. There's just so many different restrictions where you can hit a week deadline, and we're on a different timeline than these people. The games are completely different. I am not comparing their situation. I'm not talking about Mythic Mischief. I want to apologize to them. I am not saying they're wrong. If they think they can hit April, I believe them, and I'm super excited for that, and I can't wait to cheer them on to do that. But for Mythic Mischief, the reason we didn't say that is we knew that a single delay could push us from April or May to July, and that's why we said July. So, yep. Dave said, at this rate, I think next year is going to arrive sometime in Q1 2024. Yeah, it's so many games are already at that point. Yep. Yeah. It's hard. It is hard. Very hard for publishers right now. Please give any publisher grace who is late. I would say the only time I don't want to give them much grace is when they're like, oh, well, yes, we should have delivered 2 months ago and we almost had the files submitted. Because submitting the files is not a COVID delay or a COVID-caused delay. In most cases, there are some situations where if someone got sick or a key person is out because of COVID, like I totally understand that. Like that makes sense. But like I've seen people that are like, yeah, like you've heard about all the shipping problems and all the COVID delays. We're almost ready to submit our files, and delivery was 2 months ago. And I was like, well, I mean, the files weren't being held up by COVID, were they? So I think that's the only situation where I wouldn't just give people tons of grace, because like Veiled Fate has been in production since March or April, March, I think. We'd have to go back and look at the updates, but like it's been in production for a very long time, and they started making the molds last year for the metals and the plastics. So we were getting samples of those things that early. So it's been a very, very long time and just a lot of problems. So, whew. Oh, hold on. Here they say it right here. North Star brought Paint of Roses into development in 2017. It was fully designed, tested, and developed for a year before this Kickstarter launched. So we've been working on ways to get ahead of the current international supply chain issues. While global uncertainty still exists, we are fairly confident we can deliver in April 2022. So they have been working on this game for a lot longer than we've been working on Mythic Mischief. Maybe they already got all their sampling, all their pre-production copy done, and they're just ready to hit the button. that's very possible. We're very similar on that in Mythic Mischief. The only thing we're waiting on now is the miniatures to approve the miniatures. So, yeah. Dave says, late, fine. Late and no update for 6 months? Less okay. Agreed. Even though we're still here and breathing update is better than radio silence. Agreed. Yep. We try to update monthly. I think we have updated monthly since the end of the campaign or since the second or third month after the campaign. So, yeah. Taverns and Dragons on GameFound. It's our first GameFound campaign in a while. Things went a little slow. It is about to heat up. Let's look at that really quickly, actually. Before we talk about this, we have a Too Many Bones game coming to GameFound and a Lords of Ragnarok game coming to GameFound. It is going to be 2 huge campaigns in 6 days and then 8 days. So next week, oh man, I'm probably going to have to delay for a day on Lords of Ragnarok because I want to cover that as soon as it launches. I might be doing Wednesday next week for that. We'll see. But yeah, that's going to be a huge couple of games. I mean, how many followers we had here? Almost 20,000 followers on Too Many Bones already. Lords of Ragnarok has 28,000 followers. These are going to be 2 massive games coming up. So, all right, let's go look at Taverns Dragons, though. Taverns Dragons, almost 12,000. They have not quite hit their funding goal yet. I hope they do, because if you don't know them, they are the Last Battle of Rum creators, which I own. And then just, I mean, they make really fun looking games. I'm excited. I'm trying to remember what their other games, or if they've made any other games, but because GameFound's a little younger, let's look here. Might just be the Last Bottle of Rum. Yep. That would be my guess, because it's the only thing on this page right now. But really fun art styles. It's definitely something that I'm going to be able to bring my, it's a 10 plus age range, which isn't a range you see very often either, but I think it's definitely a good entry level game for older kids. So yeah, but I'm not to say I'm not excited to play it with older people too. Okay. Taverns and Dragons, 2 to 5 players, 60 minutes, 10 plus. Again, we've seen 2 games where I don't see that age limit that often. I feel like 8 plus is 6 plus is kind of a weird place to be too, but 8 plus I've seen. But yeah, too little money, too many bones, too little money. Hilarious. The king is coming to the city in 7 days and will feast at the tavern, offering the most tempting banquet. As the owner of a tavern, you are very eager to get the golden purse promised for that royal party. Send your minions into the cursed forests to gather rare ingredients for your recipes: magic mushrooms, wild plants, dragon eggs. Nothing is too dangerous for the king. It's a fun theme. I like it. Taverns and Dragons combines dice placement with worker movement in an adventure game full of heroes and dragons. Send your minions through the cursed forest to collect magic mushrooms or dragon eggs to prepare the most exotic recipes. This is reminding me of, we covered it last week. Not Keep the Heroes Out. Maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, but it was the one, I might not even covered it. I might have just looked at it on my own. It was a game where you're trying to get friends to your tavern. It's like you were having a contest to see who could get the most friends, and you were, man, am I not going to find this? Did it end? It must have ended. Oh, well. Okay. Well, it's kind of giving me similar vibes. That's a bold little Easter egg there. I'd be a little concerned about doing that myself, but yeah, I like it. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I'm happy they did it, I guess. It's a nice little Easter egg. Easter leg. Don't know if you've heard of those. It's like an Easter egg, but it's a leg. Yeah, really fun art. Into the Drooling Pig, The Griffin Nest, Thirsty Troll's Den, The Flaming Unicorn's Inn. Flaming Unicorn is a great name. 20 custom meeples. These are fun meeple illustrations. Huh. That's hilarious. 20 hero cards. Yeah, I just really like the art style. I think it's fun. It's definitely, I definitely think it's one of those that's just like, you've seen it in some other games, but I really like it still. So yeah, not opposed to it at all. All right, a lot of information before we get to the pledge levels. And then a what's in the box section, obviously here. I want to see what the different pledge levels are. The Sneaky Goblin, exclusive Goblin expansion. So this is looking like exclusive to Game Found. I like the little green here. Floating eyeballs aren't exclusive to Lord of the Rings. They probably aren't, but when they're on top of the Barad-dûr Tower, they definitely look like they should be. Did I say Kickstarter, Mark? Mark said KS question mark. I probably said Kickstarter, but I meant Game Found. Free mini expansions included. Each week, we will reveal a free mini expansion included in each pledge. These optional expansions will spice up your games and add new challenges around the table. Come back on Tuesday, October 9th to discover the first expansion. Hey, Dane was just talking about this. He likes this kind of thing where there's excitement and there's a reason to come back to the page and talk about things, but it's not required as far as hitting certain pledge levels, certain pledge amounts to unlock. All right, so we've got the €44 base game, and then we've got a group pledge. So there is not a higher tier than this. It looks like, and then we've got stretch goals in addition to the free expansions coming out. So a little bit of a hybrid approach to that. These stretch goals come out pretty quick. So we got a 20,000, a 21,500, and a 23,000. They're coming out every $1,500. Which is it's a snappy stretch goal rate right there. I'm curious, what did the last bottle of rum do? It looks like this is just a pledge manager, so it's not going to show me. Was that on Kickstarter? Someone help me out. There it is. Was indeed. All right, so this was an €81,000, 2,000 backers. On the first day, they are already at 263 backers, and probably will do a good amount higher than that before the end of the day. So yeah, I think they're on a pretty good pace to be around what they were on Kickstarter with Last Bottle of Rum. All right. Languages. The game will be fully printed in both English and French, and you'll be able to choose your language in the Pledge Manager. We'll provide a digital PDF translation of all elements for our German, Dutch, and Spanish backers. PDFs will be available for free after the campaign. During the Pledge Manager, you will also be able to add translation pack, which contains all printed cards. It will cost €3, excuse me. I wish we had done this for both Mythic, Mischief, and Veiled Fate, where we had English version and maybe a German and French version. Those three seem to be the biggest. And then let the other ones be rulebook and card translations. It's just for companies of our size, which I would say is the small to medium level, it's just really, really hard to hit large numbers in Spain and Italy and Poland. And people like Game Found. So Game Found, when you're working on your page, will be like, oh, you're not doing languages. Languages are usually 40% of our audience. So if you don't do languages, you're missing out on potentially 40% of your funding level. And that's just not been our experience as a smaller publisher than obviously Awakening Realms is. And so I do wish we had done it differently for the languages, but then we have lots of fans in France and Germany that are happy that we got a translated version. So it's hard to know. And we can sell in the future in those regions, and we already have them translated. So it's a little bit hard to know, but I like this way of doing it. I think they're doing this in a wise way. How to play: roll your dice, go into the city, place the dice in the city to get shiny gold coins to prepare tasty recipes for the game or to gain energy. All right, I'm going to skip through some of this. I think this is it's like a snappy, you can see things pretty quickly and just kind of like follow along with what's happening, going on a dragon hunt, engage heroes, meet the goblin. This is the Game Found exclusive expansion. It's cool that they added that in. So I really like this how to play section, just because it's not overwhelming and it's not going to be something I scroll through for the next 30 scrolls, but it's nice enough to give me a really good idea of what I'm going to be doing on each turn. Preview videos. Hey, there's some friends. Hi, Jesse. Lots of good videos there. Why back now? We talked about this. Sometimes it's above the pledges, sometimes it's below, sometimes at the end, beginning, in the middle. I would say this is definitely closer to the end. Support an independent publisher, get exclusive expansion, unlock the stretch goals, be a part of the adventure. Shipping. That is included, and you will not have to pay anything other than the shipping costs. Good to know. Last Bottle and Rum and Taverns and Dragons. Two good games, it looks like. I'm excited to see what they come out with next. Cool. Really cool campaign. Sorry I went silent there. Reading. Probably shouldn't be. Probably should be talking. Maybe that is what you're thinking. This game is similar to Magical Friends and How to Summon Them. Andy, you got it. Magical Friends and How to Summon Them is the game I was thinking of. Thank you very much. Now I want to go find that. Why is this not coming up? There it is. First created. Oh, they're not quite funding yet. I should have covered this whenever it came out. Not that I have a huge effect on funding. I just feel like I would like to have learned more about it at the time. Very similar, not art style, just like feeling for me. I skipped the gameplay section, didn't I? I like this kind of like graphic novel or like comic book style approach to it. But yeah, you're trying to get your friends through the forest and to the tavern where they're supposed to be, but you're basically controlling them. They're not actually your friends. You're a wizard that doesn't have any friends. Anyway, it made me think of that. Pretty cool looking little game. If you want to check it out. All right, skipping that. And finally, we're talking about rock, paper, scissors. So, rock, paper, scissors. Deluxe edition, a deluxe edition of the time-honored game of rock, paper, scissors. I'm honestly surprised this isn't already funded because this is hilarious, and it has some really huge people that contributed to it. What's in the box? Natural raw amethyst geode, European embroidery scissors, and metallic gold performance paper. Featuring artwork by Beth Sobel, Wingspan, Calico, and Viticulture. You may have heard of her. Lore by Chip Theory Games, Too Many Bones and Cloudspire. Game trays. Hey, there's their logo. Custom insert by Game Trays, and a solar mode by none other than David Turtsey. This is just absolutely tongue-in-cheek, if you cannot tell already. Some of the quotes on here are absolutely hilarious. There is a Rodney Smith how to play video, watch it played video, excuse me, on how to play rock, paper, scissors, which I'm definitely going to go back and watch later. I'm not going to make you watch, but I've been playing the same worn out copy of rock, paper, scissors since childhood. It's time for a new copy. Naveen's in here. Monique's in here. Jeremy Howard's in here. Lots of funny, good people. So I love I love that they even did this. There's a $35 version of it. Oh goodness. There's a t-shirt, cards, deal with it. And then a game night that you can win with Jeff from Dragon's Tomb. Hi, Jeff. Anyway, there's a lore section here from Chip Theory Games. Solo mode. David says, I feel my work on this deluxe edition will really make a difference to the millions of solo RPS fans, rock, paper, scissors, who were previously forced to play two-handed. So funny. Two-handed, because two-handed is a thing that you have to do in board. You get it. Pretty great though. Got some glamour shots of the different rock, paper, scissors components, and then some shipping, which is hilarious because, yeah, it's just, I think they even have a note about that. Shipping to some countries outside the USA will incur additional VAT charges beyond our control. Pretty funny. I really hope it funds, just because I want it to be a thing, a real thing that people are like, all right, I'm bringing out in the next game. We're playing a game night. It's super funny. Did someone say it's fitting that it's Tabletopia? Is the play on Tabletopia? Did I miss it? It is. Click here to try out the game on Tabletopia. So funny. Will I back this on stream? I don't have the Kickstarter. Our Kickstarter account is not tied to this at all. And I don't know why I've done it that way. It's just I have it, my computers are separate. So I don't usually back things on stream. If you look at our back, you can see the games that we back. And I think many of you get notifications when I back stuff. And they're always like, oh, yep, Austin's working on IV backed because he's on a backing spree. And that's usually the case. I actually haven't backed any of the ones I have looked at today just because of the crunch for time that I was under, but I will be going back and doing that after this. But yeah, I am going to back this. I think it's hilarious. I am backing it for the giggles, not for obviously wanting to play more rock, paper, scissors. But I do think I don't know. I'm just gonna bag it. I'm bagging it. So it's gonna be definitely something that I'm gonna do for taking to Zach's house and be like, got a new game, we're playing it. I wonder if RPS will provide sleeves. Probably not. I mean, wonder if the solo mode is literally just you do scissors and then there's a deck of cards and it says rock, paper, or scissors on it. That would be the best. Hope they come out with a print and play, Roger. Roger, it's nice to have you. I'm glad you joined. I'm not going to back this one on stream. I will not. But I think you should. If you have no reason to save $25, you probably shouldn't back this. If you do really like Dragon's Tomb, maybe go back at the $125 level and play a game with them. What was the other card? Did they create this offensive party game? Yeah, okay. Yeah, this did almost 10,000 with 470 people. It looks like another game. I can't quite figure out what that other game is. I hope you can hear the sarcasm in my voice, but I just had to bring it up on stream just because they got so many big people involved in the joke, and I think that's wonderful. So, all right. Thanks, y'all. I actually managed to hit right about an hour today. Sorry, it was a little bit more rough and ready as far as looking at the pages. I like to usually do a lot more research than this, but y'all, GameFound Pledge Manager is kicking my butt a little bit. Just cruising through it, trying to get everything out the door for people. But thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll be back next week. It's going to be a really big week. Like I said, I don't know what's launching on Kickstarter. I'm sure there's great stuff launching on Kickstarter, but I know for a fact it is going to be. Whoops. Just take me to the GameFound home, please. Unbreakable, or Too Many Bones, Unbreakable, and Lords of Ragnarok are going to be two massive, like million plus easy, possibly the first day games. I can't imagine them doing not well. They both come with their own built-in audiences, so it's going to be great. Did Adam? I can't say his last name very well. Kwapinski? Is that it? Did he do Rebellion? Help if I could spell this. Also, there it is. See, all 51. Lords of Hellas. No, I don't think he did Rebellion then. Knockdown, Heroes, Hard City, Frostpunk. That's where I've heard his name, Frostpunk. Nemesis. Okay, so some big ones. Pretty cool. Obviously a very, very talented designer. Cool. Thanks everyone for joining for the show, and we'll see you next week. Or actually on Friday. Friday we were talking to. Let's go ahead and I want to promo this a little bit. Friday on IV Games Weekly, we are talking to the creator of Mythwind, Brandon McCaskill, and that is going to be really, really fun. Just talking about him and the game, and this whole concept of doing a game that is kind of more open-ended and more of just about the journey. He's also a huge Brandon Sanderson fan like me, so I'm excited for that. So yeah, check that out. Awesome, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.